Senator Singh.
Thank you, Mr Acting President. And I thank at first, actually, the coalition senators for bringing this particular MPI to the Senate, because it really is an opportunity for those on this side of the chamber, those government senators, to put on record the positive agenda that the Gillard Labor government has for a clean energy future. And particularly for thanking them for putting it on the MPI on the record for this day, because as we know, this is a very historic day for the nation and for this parliament. This is the day that we commenced the legislative process necessary to create a clean energy future. And just earlier, as we know today, in the other place, the Prime Minister spoke very passionately about the need for a clean energy future, about the fact we cannot afford to wait any longer. Our Climate Change Minister spoke with conviction about why and how we are approaching this and the history-making conversation that continues and will be had in this place in some time ahead. Today, we do take responsibility. We introduced the Clean Energy Future bills because it is the right thing to do, because we believe in taking responsibility for our future and for our children's future. We have had decades of conversations regarding the need to act on climate change. We have talked about the science. We have talked about the various ways to tackle this important issue. And yes, even John Howard, in 2007, he took to the election a commitment to price carbon, something that those opposite conveniently now try to forget. In fact, we know that amongst those opposite, and I am still new to this place, so I don't know exactly which ones of those opposite, although I am sure it would include Senator Birmingham, who spoke on this MPI recently, are turncoats on this issue, because they did support their former leader, Malcolm Turnbull, when it came to the CPRS, and we now know that they conveniently are turning their backs on that decision and are now embracing a non-clean energy future of the bills of the like that have been presented to today's parliament. And yet you're happy to get on your feet, bring this MPI into this place and speak against the posterity of your children, against the responsibility that this nation needs to take, against the CPRS decision that you held from the past, and today deny the opportunity that Australia has to make to ensure that our future is a sustainable future, is a future where we can look at clean energy jobs and industry development, at ensuring that we have an environment and a community that cares about the way we use energy and what that energy is made up of. Even John Howard took that to the election in 2007, a commitment to price carbon. Now is the time, Mr Acting President, for action. Just like state parliaments have taken action in the past, this is the time for our Australian Parliament to take further action to debate this challenge facing our country. I'd like to acknowledge the role of the Tasmanian government that it took on climate change as one of the first states to legislate to reduce our emissions to 60% below 1990 levels by 2020. And at that time, I was a minister assisting the Premier on climate change, and we embraced very much to ensure that we played our role as a state and in trying to lead the nation in that respect, being a state that has most of its energy coming from renewable resources. Tasmania, as those members opposite would know, that we are a world leader in renewable energy generation. Those Liberal senators, Senator Bushby, who's in this place at this time, is very aware of the positive benefits that we have experienced from our hydro generation, which continues now into new renewable areas such as wind technology. He would also know of the job creation that has come about from that wind technology, something that will continue now into the rest of Australia through the support of these clean energy bills. And it's not too late, Senator Bushby. It's not too late for you to stand up and support your state, to support this nation in job growth, in moving forward into a clean energy future for your children, for your children's children. It's not too late, but you have the choice. You have a vote. You have a vote. You have the opportunity to show a bit of leadership and support the clean energy bills that are in front of you today, or will be in front of you once they've finished debating in the House of Representatives, to ensure that we do have a strong, sustainable future for our children in this nation. Renewable energy is, of course, the future of energy generation across the globe. Not only does climate change make use of energy-producing technologies that produce fewer or no carbon emissions as an imperative, but I believe that it also makes sense economically, it makes sense scientifically, and it makes sense environmentally for us to use natural resources that are so accessible and cannot be depleted. And the Labor government is taking a modern approach to this very issue of climate change. We've consulted widely, we've received over 300 submissions on the draft bills, and have had direct conversations with business, with NGOs, and a wide range of stakeholders. We've used the very best scientists and examined science time and time again. There is years of research behind our decisions. And in fact, today I had the privilege of joining with Senator Cameron and Senator Billick and Senator Milne in a meeting and having a short briefing with the Climate Commission delegation that came here today to hear firsthand how, from experts, namely our climate commissioners, Professor Flannery, Mr Roger Beale, Professor Leslie Hughes and Dr Susanna Elliott, as well as their international visitors here from the US, from India and from Denmark, and particularly Dr Daniel Carmen from the World Bank, who shared with us about the activities in relation to clean energy in California and the integrated grid and its opportunities, and also the biodiversity and land issues there, something perhaps that those opposite could have benefited if only, Mr Acting President, they would have turned up. Similarly, the way they didn't want to turn up and be part of the working group that has formed part of the bills that we have presented into this parliament today. Why? Because they continue to keep their heads in the sand, conveniently so, because it's in their supposedly political interests to do so. Well, it is not in the nation's interests. It is not in our children's interests. And they will go down in history, on the wrong side of history, as being those that opposed a future that ensured that we had some structured stability in our nation against those issues that affect us each day as we turn on the lights, as we drive our cars, and as Senator Williams pointed, we conduct our farming activities. And that is why I would like to provide Senator Williams with a bit of detail in relation to our package in the farming sector, because this government, as Senator Williams would know, has excluded agricultural and land sectors from the carbon price. Farmers, forestry operators and other land managers will not pay a price for carbon pollution from their activities. Importantly, farmers, forestry and fisheries activities will not face a carbon price for their off-road use of fuel or their on-road use of light vehicles. And he would be well aware of that, I'm sure. He just chooses to conveniently come in this place and grandstand about issues that he knows not very much about when it comes to these clean energy bills. Federal Labor is going to do what is best for Australia and for Australian families. We are going to do what is best for our future and future generations. We are acting on climate change. We will cut carbon pollution. We will build clean energy future, and we will create an industry that thrives on clean energy jobs. There are economic opportunities that are huge as we provide the drive for a clean energy future. There is $450 million worth of projects in the pipeline across this country. We see continual investment plans for clean energy economy in this nation, which is needed for a clean energy future.
The time for the discussion has expired.